Good day and welcome to another edition of Citizens Movement Radio News. Today is Tuesday, 5 August 2025. I'm Bernard Chele, ready to bring you the latest news and updates. Here are today's headlines on Citizens Movement Radio News. Outcry over government announcement to ban sale of second-hand clothes and night vending. Ban of bells outside law, says Mahere. President Chamisa continues citizens' engagements in countryside. Now let's delve into the detailed stories. The ZANU-PF government, through the Ministry of Local Government, has directed local authorities to buy night street vending. Local Government Minister Daniel Garwe also pronounced ban of second-hand clothing known as Mabero. Speaking to Citizens Movement Radio, one of the senior opposition officials, Stephen Sarkozy Chuma, slammed the government's decision, saying it is being insensitive to the plight of the poor. Chuma said.
Yes, the decision by the government to ban the sale of bears or second-hand clothing, it's a clear indication that this government is insensitive to the needs of the poor. We are also worried about the government's decision to ban vending at night. We know that nobody wants to vend at night, especially in this cold weather. But because our people are suffering, they are trying to eke out a living, they are trying to put food on the table. So they go to any extremes to make sure that they find money to feed their families and to pay for school fees. We know that this government is the one that created the issues of vending by destroying the economy, the formal sector of the economy. Now people are resorting to informal sector and doing manual jobs and other things like vending to make sure that they put food on the table. But the very same government now wants to unleash terror on them, which is very unfortunate and regrettable. But what can we expect from ZANU-PF government under Emmerson Mnangagwa? This is all they can do. This is a government that is anti-people, that is anti the poor, that is not pro-poor. So we do not expect them to have a feeling for the ordinary masses that are suffering. This is the reason why we are calling the people of Zimbabwe to rally behind a pro-poor president like Advocate Nelson Chamisa, who has been singing from the same hymn with the majority of masses who are suffering.
The former Mount Pleasant lawmaker and advocate of law Fadzai Mahere has added a voice condemning the government's ban of importation and sale of bells. Commenting on X, the outspoken opposition politician said ministers have no power outside the law to ban trade or any other activity by press statement. She said the government is required by Section 68 of the Constitution to take all its actions in line with the law. Mahere said the ban is invalid as there is no valid enacted law to enforce the ban. The citizens' president advocate Nelson Chamisa is continuing with his engagements with citizens in the countryside. Despite attacks and unjustified criticism on social media, President Chamisa remains rooted in the masses. Bizo Member of Parliament Honorable Koban Madzivanyika told Citizens Movement Radio that the biggest strength of Advocate Chamisa is his ability to connect with the masses seamlessly. He said he is confident that Advocate Chamisa will form a solid political vehicle that will eventually dislodge ZANU-PF from power. Let's hear him speaking.
I fully stand in full support of President Nelson Chamisa, unwavering commitment to the people of Zimbabwe. His commitment is both inspiring and also deeply necessary. At a time when many people have retreated to comfort zones, at a time when many people or many politicians have retreated to safety, President Advocate Nelson Chamisa has continued to walk among the people, especially in the rural communities, bringing hope, bringing vision, bringing dialogue, where the regime seeks only to silence and control the people. So, despite the regime's relentless campaign of digital harassment and propaganda, which is funded and fueled by state resources in order to discredit the president, President Advocate Nelson Chamisa has refused to be deterred. He remained vigilant. He remained committed. He remained rooted. He remained strong and dedicated So you will find that the president has been of late meeting people, particularly in the rural areas, which are not behind the guarded gates or internet screens, but in the dust roads, the remote villages, and the forgotten towns of this country. That to me, on its own, is leadership grounded in service, and a leadership not grounded in self-interest. This is a demonstration that the president is indeed grounded in hearing what the people are saying about this next move. To those who are paid, those online hecklers, those who are paid by the state to discredit this message, I've seen a lot of paid ZANU-PF Rakashis, and I'm told millions of phones were distributed across the latitude of Zimbabwe to discredit the president's post. To you, Arakashi, I want to assure you that you will not heal. As much as the dedication of the president remains, you are actually dead and buried. So, in standing with Nelson Chamisa, we actually stand with every Zimbabwean who dreams of a just, who dreams of a free, who dreams of a prosperous future in a Zimbabwe for all. The noise of the regime's spin machine may echo online, but it is the voice of the people of Zimbabwe that matters at the end of the day. So you will find that in Shona they say Anebora de Anomakwa. And I want to assure you that Chamisa, President Nelson Chamisa, is the only game in town and away. I thank you.
Renowned economist Professor Gift Mugano has poked holes into the Finance Ministry mid-term budget statement. Professor Mugano said the figures by the Treasury do not make sense as ZiG valuation against US dollar shockingly did not match. He accused the Treasury of lying and throwing around figures without backing of economics. Former ZBC broadcaster Sugar Chagonda has been appointed as its new Chief Executive Officer CEO. Chagonda takes over from ZANU-PF Youth League member Charles Munganasa, who was ZBC acting CEO over the past 2 years. Speaking to Citizens Movement Radio, one of opposition officials, Jefferson Chitando, said ZBC must not operate as a ZANU-PF propaganda machine for it to retain public trust. He said people no longer feed on ZBC propaganda due to new forms of media and technology. The ruling on the case of 4 human rights defenders who were abducted at Robert Mugabe International Airport last year was yet again postponed yesterday to the 8th of August 2025. The 4, who are Robson Chere, Namatai Kwekweza, Samuel Gwenzi, and Vusimusi Moyo, are jointly charged with a host of other activists. They face charges of disorderly conduct. The ATU Secretary General Robson Chere bemoaned continued delays to the judgment, saying it's disrupting their daily routines. Today, Mashingo youths led by Calvin Tinaro joined the anti-child abuse campaign march together with the Parliament of Zimbabwe and other schools. Child abuse has become rampant throughout the country due to many factors, including lack of awareness of children's rights and domestic violence caused by unemployment and the economic downturn. There is public furor over images of Harare West MP Joanna Mamombe handshaking Emerson Mnangagwa at State House. While Mamombe has offered the explanation that he met Mnangagwa on parliamentary business, she has faced backlash online from citizens who accuse her of dining with the regime and its enablers. Back to our top story, we spoke to citizens to hear their views on the ban of night vending and selling of second-hand clothes.
We currently rely on vending because it's backed by the hard socio-economic and political situation. The government's failure to provide jobs and employment opportunities has left us the citizens with no choice but to turn to vending to survive. In fact, a significant percentage of vendors are youths, children, and vulnerable individuals who are struggling to make ends meet. Many have dropped out of school due to unaffordable fees, while others are barely scraping by on meager salaries. Even pensioners are struggling to sustain themselves on meager allowances. We currently depend on vending whether it's during the day or night. Despite the cold weather challenges, it's our current only means of survival. We are not doing it by choice but because we want to see another day. Unlike the regime in Harare which survives on corruption, looting, stealing minerals, we are trying to earn an honest living as citizens. We will resist the government's attempts to restrict our only means of livelihood. If anything, the CPD will become the headquarters of Vending if they continue with this sabotage. We will make sure that each and every street and avenue becomes a market square as our only way of resisting the ban. Zimbabwe needs new leaders who prioritize citizens' interest and well-being. It's time for a change. Hashtag ZANU-PF must go.
Hello, citizens. Hello, Zimbabwe. Tony Shaba here. Concerning what the council has done, what the local government has done, banning citizens from selling during the night or vending clothes from bells, that is the highest level of cruelty, considering the situation in Zimbabwe and considering that there is 90% unemployment rate. You would not expect the government to do that. Where are they expecting people to get money to take care of themselves and take care of their families? The cost of living is rising up each and every time, and then bam, you see the local government doing this to people. You know, this is absolute cruelty. We have a government that is not at the same place with its people. They are far away from their own people. They don't understand the needs, the wants, the necessities of their people. So this is the exact thing that we were saying yesterday concerning President Nelson Chamisa going to the grassroots, to the rural areas like Berengwa and other places, even in the ghettos, talking to people, you know, one-on-one. He talks to people. He understands the needs of the people. He understands what's going on in the lives of people on daily basis. But our government, they don't know that. They only need people when it is towards election. That's when you see them calling people, looking for people, and trying to do some rallies and handing out some foodstuffs and something like that. But you see that they do not care about the people. They care for their bellies. They care about their families. They care about their looting sprees. That's all they care about. This is the problem that we have in Zimbabwe. We need a government that understands its people, that understands the needs of the people. It's unnecessary. It's evil for them to do this thing. People must be allowed to sell, because that's the only way that they can survive. Most of them, they don't even own houses. They're supposed to pay rents. Their kids are supposed to go to school. Social welfare beam is no longer existing. So what are they expecting people to do at the end of the day? Everything, you know, you see, the government of Zimbabwe, they try to make life tough for its own people every time. The passports, they make them so high. Now we hear that they are forcing people to pay radio licenses. They want to squeeze life out of people. They want to make sure that people are left with nothing. The government is looting from its own people. In the government, they want to kill their own people. It is a very sad situation. But we know and we hope that our President, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, very soon, he will come and bring the change that we so much need. Thank you.
Maswera sei vana vezimbabwe tichisangana pano paCitizens Movement Radio. Masikati akadai, masikati akaisvonaka, tinoda kutenda zvikuru kuvashamarari Citizens Movement Radio vatipa mukana wekuti kurukure maringe nechiitiko chakaitaurwa naMinister of weHarare, vanova vanonzi Minister Garwe, pamusoro pemavendors ari kutengesa munyika yeZimbabwe, kana kuti vari kutengesa hembe tsaru. Ndoda kuti titaure tichikondema danho rakatorwa naMinista rekubhana avo vanotengesa hembe mumigwagwa kana kuti vanotengesa hembe muguta reHarare. Dambudziko rehurumende yeZANU-PF, vanouya vanotarisa side one. saidi vanotarisa saidi ravo rokuti vabhana, asi havatarise the other side of the coin, kuti vanhu ava tikavabhanisa kuti vasatengese hembe tsaru idzi muguta vanozorarama sei nemhuri dzavo. Izvozvo zvokuti vanorarama sei nemhuri zvavo havazvitarise, but chavanogona kubhana kuti musatengesa muguta reHarare. Ende mukazvitarisa kuti nokuda kweudesperate waitika munyika kana kuti vakonzerwa nehurumende yeZANU-PF, wokuti we are importing old clothes from our neighboring countries. Vanhu ava vari kudawo kuti tiraramisewo mhuri dzedu. Zvino kana mabhana kuti hamuchada kuti vatengese hembe tsaru dzinoimportwa kunana Mozambique dzichiuya muZimbabwe, hamuchada kuti vadzitengese, muri kufunga kuti vana amai vorarama sei? Vana vavo vanoendesa kuchikoro sei? Vana vavo vanobhadhara school fees sei? Ko marenzi avanobhadhara vanobhadhara sei? Munombozvifungawo here zvinhu zvakaita seizvozvo? Ende mogona kuti mabasa ese industry yese makavhara mabasa ese, hakuna kana basa rinonzi kune industry yakavhura iri kushanda kuZimbabwe. Ese maindustry haasi kushanda nokuda kweuori hweZANU-PF, nokuda kweurova hwakakonzerwa neZANU-PF. So vanhu vari kuzama kuda kuzviriritirawo kuti vana vavo vaende kuzvikoro vagonewo kurarama, asi ndo vamuri kuti muri kubhana vanhu ivavo, muri kusunga. Ende vanhu vacho ava vanoshanda daily, usiku masikati, kuti at least ndiriritirewo mhuri yangu. Zvino makamusunga munhu iyeyo, kumusunga semasundiro amamuita iye, kumuti hatichada kukuona uchitengesa, munhu iye anorarama sei kana makazvifungawo? Minisa zvifungei kana makazvifunga kuti munhu iye anomborarama sei? Ende market amuri kutaura, mamarket amunoti makavaka market kuMbare, muchavaka market yamuda kuzovaka yamusati mawaka. Mamaketi enyu ari kudhura, mamaketi enyu ari kudhura, is too expensive. Munhu kuenda kutoilet paanenge achida zvaenda kutoilet anofanira kubhadhara mari. Ukaenda 4 times kutoilet unofanira kubhadhara mari iyoyo. Saka vanhu muri kuvaomesera nemamaketi enyu amuri kuwaka. Ari kudhura mamaketi enyu, ndosaka muri kuona vanhu vari kubudisa hembe dzavo vachizotengesa murodhi. Inyaya yekuti mamaketi enyu amuri kugadzira ari kudhura mamaketi enyu. Thank you very much. God bless you.
In our sports news on Citizens Movement Radio, in pre-season friendlies played yesterday, Liverpool beat Atletico Bilbao in double headers played at Anfield. Liverpool won the first match 4-1 and the second match 3-2. Tomorrow, Arsenal play Villarreal in the Emirates Cup at Emirates Stadium. Match kicks off at 7 p.m. CAT. In CHAN tournament matches played yesterday, co-host Uganda were humbled 3-0 by Algeria, while Guinea beat Niger 1-0. In other weekend results of the tournament, co-host Kenya shocked DRC 1-0. Madagascar drew 0-0 with Mauritania. Morocco beat Angola 2-0, and another co-host Tanzania saw off Burkina Faso by 2-0. The CHAN is reserved for players plying their trade in their country's leagues. To conclude our Citizens Movement Radio News, here are the headlines once more. Outcry over government announcement to ban sale of second-hand clothes and night vending. Ban of bells outside law, says Mahere. President Chamisa continues citizens' engagements in countryside. The news on CMR English was brought to you by Bernard Chele. Me and the whole crew wishes you all a pleasant evening. Good night, you all. Meet us again in another news bulletin.